Hey everybody, this is Dark Side Elite here, and I just got up from my nap. I was actually up since like 7 o'clock this morning, and the moment I looked at my social media feeds, I saw that Zack Snyder at 8 o'clock was going to do a live commentary of Batman v Superman: The Ultimate Edition, and I immediately jumped on. I didn't even have a breakfast yet. I had to eat breakfast while he was doing it, and it was one of the best commentaries I've seen in a good long time. I know there is so many things he probably wanted to talk about, certain scenes and everything else, but this was so cool that he was actually able to take time out of his busy schedule. Now, you guys could think, "Ooh, is he really busy?" Yes, he's very busy. The man is still probably dealing with projects. He has kids at home, and his wife and him are house ridden. But you know that he is still talking to the people about getting this Netflix movie out. So I have a huge suspicion that he is still working a lot on Army of the Dead, and we don't know. But I'm hoping that he is still working with the Snyder Cut and working with WB and this new regime to actually get this out and running. Now, this commentary was very well in depth. There were a lot of glitches, but hey, that's just the nature of the beast, and we all know that. Sorry about that. That was a phone call. We all know that, and we can't. And a lot of us shouldn't get very upset over it at all. Again, Zack Snyder didn't have to do anything, but I think that because of who knows what's going on during that time frame, he wasn't able to get it out during that 4 year. Now imagine this: it's been 4 years since BvS, and the movie is still talked about because we're making it relevant. I'm sorry, not relevant. We're making it relevant. We are making this movie a true cult classic. This guy is a great director. He deserves a lot of the respect. He does put his hard work into it. The man is integral about how he wanted to construct a lot of things. And if you really do listen, he went into depth about how he was constructing certain characters and how he was building the movies in a way that it makes sense in a more modern telling. He didn't want to subject himself back to keeping them pigeonholed into just going by the comic standard. And that's okay. And he does have a lot of respect for the comics. He went into depth about the Batcave and how it was cool that he put it in this situation. He was talking about the whole Jimmy Olsen thing. He understood how people felt, but he felt that Jimmy Olsen, the way he was, he would have been irrelevant. Who the heck cares? But he didn't go into true depth. He also showed his personal drawings, so his storyboard drawings of BvS itself, and that was really cool. He was showing it off. So me myself, I don't know how anybody else felt. I don't know if Comic Movie March jumped on board. I know I saw DC Film Hubs jumped on board. I don't know how Leonard 2814 felt. I don't know how Chris Wong felt about it. I saw not many people jumping on talking about this yet. They're probably making their videos. They probably want to talk amongst each other around Twitter and get some more information. I don't know, but me personally, I said it before and I say it again. I'm not on Twitter anymore. To me, it's a pretty toxic area. I personally rather, if you guys want to talk to me, you guys can DM me on through YouTube. You guys can also leave messages and comments on any of my videos, and I'll try to respond to them as best as I can. But me personally, I felt that this was a great distraction for what's been going on. I do hope that maybe in another few weeks, maybe he'll do an MOS. And we know that he will not sit down and watch Justice League. He knows how butchered that movie was. He knows. There is no way this man does not know how much that movie was butchered by everything that we're talking about. I have a feeling he's never seen the movie, but he is not going to sit down and watch that movie. It is going to in a way make him feel emotional because he walked away from this movie. He did walk away from the movie, but the movie was done. There was nothing else that they needed to change except add in a few more scenes and just put in the music, the ADR, and everything else. Just some touch ups. And anybody can say, well, no, it was 100% done. No, he stated that there was still some few things need to be done. There was still some touch ups that need to be done, and then it'd been fine. He made the movie, it was done. From his perspective, the filming was done. Now, visual effects and everything else, he stated that there were some visual effects that he couldn't get to because he left. So we know that there's certain parts of the movie that were not completely 100% done. So I have a huge suspicion he had, no, there is no suspicion about it. We know he has never seen Justice League. Justice League, sorry, not League. League. He did not see that movie. He doesn't want to make himself get upset or anything. He just said, you know what, I'm good. Let's move forward. So he wants to move forward. Now he's hearing about this. Now he's hearing about people screaming out about a Snyder cut, and he hasn't said anything. But then he started doing the cryptic messages, and that's what was our way of knowing that he knew we wanted that Snyder cut. But he was giving us that tongue in cheek, so it was a gigantic wink to all of us that, hey, I know. I know this movie got butchered. I know from what my wife has told me, but we are moving forward. We're not gonna hem ourselves backwards. However, we did get an appreciation from Deborah about all of our hard work to try to release this Snyder cut and all the appreciation we all as fans have done for them. And I do give my appreciation to her and Zach. Now, I still stand that Deborah should have stood up for the movie. However, she has to put that corporate line, and I hope that there is no animosity or anything from them towards myself. I just think that they should have fought a little bit harder. But I understand from a business standpoint that they have to do what they got to do to get to at least get that movie out. And they know that and I know she was very upset with this movie. She knows that they butchered the heck out of this movie, and I know that it really upsetted her that they ruined a 5 arc movie into a 2.5 arc movie that made absolutely no sense for your crescendo storyline. And then it completely derailed everything. And I know that she deep down probably wish she did fight a little bit more, but that's here or there. It's in the past. I want to move forward. I think she wants to move forward. Zach wants to move forward. I'm glad that they are doing what they're doing now, and they are helping the fans as the best way they can. And I personally hope, I do hope that with this Snyder Cut comes out, it does repair the bridges between Zack Snyder and DCWB and WBDC. So we hopefully will get Zack coming back to make a couple of more movies. I think he would, if he knows that they're not going to mess around with his movie. I think that he's now at the pinnacle point where he's tired of WB messing around with his movie. I think that's where he's at right now. He's done. He doesn't want nobody messing around with his movie. He wants to have creative freedom with his films, and that's why we as fans need to make them know that this is what this whole movement is about. It's not about the Justice League. That is a cherry on top. What this is about is Zack getting the creativity, the creative freedom to do the movie he wants to do. If it's successful, it's successful. If it's not successful, hey, at least he was able to do something. At least he put something out there for people to enjoy. Not everyone's going to enjoy it, and that's okay. But to him as that he ruined this whole universe, that is a detrimental no. That is wrong. You need to put everybody in this. You need to put the film media. You need to put some of the fans. You need to put in the producers and the studio heads. They all agreed to what Zack wanted, and he did the movie he wanted. He did 2 movies he wanted to do, but then these guys wanted that Marvel money, and then realized that they were growing their base. They were growing the DC brand, and because of meddling and infighting and what they wanted and their rush job efforts, they actually ruined this whole universe. I say it before and I say it again. If they stood with what Todd Phillips did with Joker, if they did the same thing with Zack with that BvS Ultimate Cut, we would have never had problems with Justice League. They never had a problem with Justice League. BvS, the theatrical, made $850 million. I guarantee you, BvS even at rated R Ultimate Cut would have made over $1 billion. It would have made slightly over $1 billion. Easy. That was a lot of money that they left on the floor. And the Blu-ray sales would have skyrocketed. The Blu-ray sales beat Thor Ragnarok's Blu-ray sales. That is an achievement on its own because of how awesome the Ultimate Cut was. So I'm gonna say here, and I'm gonna say it for the final time, and I said it in my previous video. This is the time now. We need to be diplomatic about this. We cannot be no more infighting. There has to be. We have to minimize the infighting. The Snyder Cut is coming out. They're gonna give it to us. We need to focus on the bigger issue, and the bigger issue is we need to let WB know that we know you screwed up. We know that you're giving us the Snyder Cut as an appeasement. Now, don't let this happen again. This happened to Donner, and it ruined Superman 2. And then you had to go through a whole bunch of nonsense for close to 20 years to get that movie out. And now you did the same thing to Zack Snyder because you felt that the audience did not like his version of Superman. And I said it in multiple times in previous videos. That was the purpose of Man of Steel. It was to prove that the casual audience member, rabid fans are the true enemy of creativity. Rabid fans are. Listen, I have problems with Marvel. But if you look at what Zack Snyder was doing, Marvel could have did that in 3 or 4 various movies and nobody would have batted an eyeball. Everybody would have been perfectly fine. You would have had a cohesive universe that had a different level of feel to every single movie. But every movie, the jokes, the rim shots, everything felt right there. Right there. You can literally time it. That is when they're always going to do a rim shot. It is so bad. People don't act like people. The heroes act like cartoon characters, and that's not how you're supposed to create a universe. You're supposed to have us enamored and enraptured into it. By the time we get to Endgame, a lot of us are already so invested in what's going on that we can feel the beats of the emotion because of the music and because of the situation. But some of us are already like tuned out because we don't care. We know you're going to kill this person. We know you're going to do this. Oh my God, you did this. And it just makes it very, very apparent. That's why I had a problem with Marvel. That was one of the biggest problems I had problem with Marvel with Infinity War and Endgame. But Zack Snyder with Man of Steel and BvS, to me, in my personal feeling, you felt for Superman. He just finally realized that it's not about Krypton anymore. Krypton is gone. He cannot hold on to Krypton and the ideals of Krypton anymore. And also, he doesn't have Jor-El anymore. Zack got rid of Jor-El. But the thing is that he said it also in that commentary that there are points when you can bring characters back, but in the time limit you have in like, let's say 3 movies, you really can't do that. You can't just sew everything up and bring everything together and go, okay, well, here's a happy ending. You can't do that. You got to keep, if you write in a darker and then you lighten it up, then you want to do darker and lighten it up. But if you get rid of something and you don't explain how this gets back, then how is a person supposed to be able to figure out how did this happen? You can't say it happened off screen because then you basically just ruined the whole script. You ruined the whole script. You just ruined everything. So that's why he stated that he also talked about a little bit like if you have a TV show, then yeah, he would have easily brought back Jimmy Olsen. There would have been ways for him to bring back Jimmy Olsen. But in this 5-arc movie, there was no way to bring back Jimmy. There was truly no way to bring back Jimmy. And there'd have been no way to really go the way that he thinks that people would have wanted him to go. He wrote it in a way to make sure that Jimmy was relevant and he was a CIA officer and he was defending his country. Okay, that's great. That's cool. But for people to say that, oh, he should have been a photographer. In modern society, no one needs a photographer anymore. They don't. You know what reporters do? They actually go out and they see if anybody has pictures and they pay them for the pictures. And they get the pictures off of their phone. And they tell them to erase those pictures because they bought them. It's theirs now. It belongs to the paper. They don't have They don't really have any more photojournalism anymore. They don't do that anymore. Everyone has a cell phone, and their phones can take a better picture than most traditional cameras. So Jimmy Olsen would be very irrelevant. But again, it's like talking to a wall. So but that's here or there. I thank Zack Snyder for doing this. Again, he did not have to do it. He didn't have to do a damn thing. He could have just left everything alone and moved and just worked on his movie and then just kept doing stuff from Vero. But for him to take 3 hours, actually more than 3 hours, because there were some mistakes that were going on with the feed, but he went over 3 hours to sit down with us and actually discuss this movie with us. We should all thank him very, very much for this. I have said thank you to him multiple times on the Vero, and I hope that somebody sends this to him and let him know that, listen, thank you for everything. You didn't have to do it. I'm very appreciative of you doing this and taking our time off of what's going on in the world right now. And for 3 hours, we were able to sit down with a great director and literally go over one of his greatest masterpieces of comic book storytelling. I don't see the Russos doing this. I don't even see Kevin Feige sitting down and doing this. I don't see any Marvel director doing this right now. They are not sitting down and talking to the fans about Marvel products and doing a movie about their movies. I don't see that. And that's shameful. Marvel made so much money off of your money, and they don't even want to do an Infinity War and in-game commentary and talk about things in the movie and have some discussions. I don't see that. I don't see that none of my social feeds. And I keep my ear to the ground about Marvel stuff. I don't completely ignore it. I want to hear if they're going to do anything, and I don't hear a word. This should be our pie in their faces. Zack Snyder took time out of his busy schedule to literally sit down with the fans and discuss about this. He's even stated that there were, even when he did this, what we called the Snyder Con a couple of years last year, he didn't even commentary through the movie. He was watching it. He said he was watching it. He barely talked. So he says this time he's going to talk. He's going to talk about the scenes and this and this and this. Now, again, he didn't have to talk about every single scene, but for him to even sit down and talk about that was cool. That was really cool. And I do hope that maybe one day he does another get together. We're all able to sit down and he talks about, and we could all sit down and do an MOS, BvS, and a straight up Snyder Cut Justice League. And he describes to us what he was trying to build. And since he couldn't do his 5-arc movie, maybe he could just tell it to us in his 3-arc movie. So thank you for joining me. Thank you for sticking with me also. Like, comment, share, subscribe down below. Hit the bell. I will try to get as many videos out as I possibly can. Again, I'm homebound for a while now, and I don't want to do multiple videos. Also, there's not very much on the Snyder Cut. All we know is it's been delayed, and I think that's a good thing. Maybe we could wait a couple of months, and I think that Zack is going to keep doing some small things here and there. So we got some great stuff coming to us, and all we need right now is patience. We need to have patience like a stone, and we're going to get that cut. It's written in the stars. Like I said, it's written, and it's going to happen. The only thing that will ever derail this is unless we get so much negative toxicness that it just ruins the whole thing. But we're not going to do that. A lot of us have been very patient about this. We've been very diplomatic, and it's going to happen. WB knows, Zack knows, now we know. And it is time. We should be happy. Zack did this for us. We should be very appreciative. Thank you for joining me, and I hope to talk to you guys real soon. Bye.